Good evening, Facebook family, and welcome to another beautiful, rainy Sunday evening session with Brian and Janice. And again, good out to my YouTube family as well. Brian and I are so excited to be with you today. We have so much to collaborate with you about today. There's a lot going on in the world. Yes, so we've been busy. We've been very busy, but sometimes busy is good. The main thing is to stay focused and to stay organized. You must not panic when things are in disarray, because that's just life, and we've learned that. So what we need to focus on right now is not to take anything for granted. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. And are we truly ready as a people for what is taking place right now? Have we really prepared ourselves? Do we understand what's going on? Are we listening to more aspects? Are we meditating? Are we praying? Are we diving in with deep conversations? Are we reading? Are we trying to get more out of this? Are we asking the right questions? Do you know what's going on? Are you prepared for what's going on? I need to ask you and tell you, at this point, the Republicans are well organized. As my dad used to say, they are a well-oiled machine. So we as American people and as African Americans, are we organized? Are we oiled? Are we ready to take on this next version and chapter of life? Have we positioned ourselves to be ready for what is about to take place? If not, I'm going to challenge you to sit back, hold on, and get ready for the ride. Brian's going to take you to another dimension. All right, Brian.
Well, good evening, Facebook family. Good evening, YouTube family. We are glad to be back. Everything is going on.
Yes.
So there is so much to talk about. We know the breaking news is Biden stepping down. We said this
months ago.
Yes, 3-4 shows ago. We talked about Biden not being the Democratic candidate going into
2024
that's
election.
right, in the final months of the race.
We did.
And we are here. Here's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Is it too late in the game? Will the Democratic Party be able to recover from Biden finally stepping down, them finally having to come forward and be honest with the American public that he is not capable of doing another 4-year term? That's where we're at.
Well, he said that. He's not doing another 4-year term.
But he's just saying it,
yes,
right?
Right.
Because he was very vehement in his declaration of running again.
Yes.
What was his undoing? You all have heard it all over the news. CNN, okay? Crying News Network, as my good brother Joe Brown would say. Okay? You got MSNBC.
Fox News.
Fox News.
BBC.
All of the talking heads are now questioning.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes,
What are they going to do? Did the Democrats wait too late? Are they going to be able to effectively put together?
Strategize.
That's right. And even put in place a plan for new nominees to actually be effective concerning trying to somehow give the Republican Party a challenge.
Are we ready?
Because
we ready?
And like you said, and let's go back, the undoing, I think, was the debate. So when Joe Biden publicly challenged Trump to a debate, he did not really, I don't think, mentally understood at that time that he wasn't capable
I
of
don't-
debating anyone.
We don't blame him. We don't
So-
blame him. We're not blaming
He's
him.
partially to blame.
Yes. Well, I don't think Biden's been well for a long time. Being as a registered nurse of over 30 plus years, you can assess and evaluate. Any nurse will tell you this. We do a lot of critical thinking, and we do a lot of we call physical assessments. We can physically assess you without ever touching you, especially if you're an advanced nurse. We don't have to put our hands on you to assess you, to know if you're cognitively, if you're physically, if you're spiritually, if you're mentally impaired. We know that. So for 2 to 3 years, I've known that something wasn't right. There was nothing said about it. It wasn't addressed. But we knew. You could watch the stability of his ambulation. You know, you could see the response, how slow he was to response. Sometimes you got to be quick. You got to think quick. You got to talk fast. You got to be ready because people are coming at you from every different direction.
Well, you can't talk too fast. You got to be a critical thinker.
But you got to move it. You can't stagger.
He wasn't able to put his thoughts together as it relates to being able, like you said, being quick on your feet, but also at the same time being a critical thinker and able to analyze what is being said.
Yes.
To give a rational answer that answers the question. Okay? That's oxymoron, but that is what the challenge was with Joe Biden. So now, let's get to the nuts and the bolts, the real deal. Okay? First thing is that the Democratic Party has lied to black people for 4 years. Let's make that absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt. It does not take a genius. It doesn't take a political talking head to see what is going on in our community. And there have been very little policies that have been put forth by the Democratic Party that have affected black people in positive ways. Now, there are some policies, I'm not saying all, but there are some policies that have trickled down into the black community and touched the black community in positive ways. Let's give you one policy. Has been the relieving of debt, student loans.
Yes. But that affects black and white.
That's exactly right. But it touches the black community.
Exactly.
Now, it touches the black community that actually have student loan debt.
Exactly.
Now, and so let's talk about for 1 minute. The majority of the black community does not have student loan debt because they can't even afford to go to college. And the majority of the black community that need to be touched doesn't go to college. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
So we touched a very small percentage. Guess what the percentage of the black community was touched the most by that particular policy?
What? How many, Brian?
Black African American women that were college educated, which was less than 15%. Think about that. Black educated college women were benefited the most by the policy that was put in place to eliminate student loan debt.
Okay. Less than 15%.
Less than 15%. And not only that, it did not touch the core problems of the black community. Okay? So, what does the Democratic Party need to do now? That's the question that everybody's scrambling for. What is going to be the issues that need to be discussed that will win Democratic voters that have said, we cannot tolerate 4 more years of this, and that have actually switched over to the Republican Party, or either they have made up their mind that they're going to not vote at all,
or
they have switched over to being an independent voter. Now, we don't encourage not voting. So let's put that out there for the record. We don't encourage anybody to sit at home.
Right. We want you to vote.
We want you to vote. Okay, so now the Democratic Party has to put together a plan that deals with the issues. They have to start talking about what policies they're going to put forth that is going to affect the great majority of American voters.
Okay.
Ironically, J.D. Vance,
Okay.
the new VP
For
candidate for Trump, is now starting to espouse the policies that they want to put in place up under a Trump administration. Okay? What are some of the things that they are espousing? Do you know?
Yes.
Right.
Drugs. He wants to really put a policy to help eliminate drugs and crime.
Okay. There are two policies that I'm going to quote President Trump from that he wants to deal with. The first one is immigration, border control.
Okay.
You want to stop immigrants from coming in.
We know that he
That's
wants
the
to
first thing that he said from day one,
beginning day one.
he's going to deal with immigrations. He's going to be a deporter of immigrants immediately.
Yes.
And he's going to deport more immigrants than any other president in the United States. That's day one, he said that. Number two, drill, baby, drill.
Oil.
He wants to make the United States energy independent to where we do not depend on any international oil and where we stop or halt clean energy being produced, i.e. electric cars,
Yes.
anything really electric, okay?
Yes.
He wants the American people to have an option. So those are two policies that they are really pushing.
Well, I thought you asked me about JD.
Yeah, no, but JD is part of the Trump administration.
Yes.
So he's pushing Trump's agenda.
Right.
Okay? So he's espousing now, he's talking more about the issues. Simply because he can.
Yes.
Okay? He's a graduate. We know, we done heard his resume, hillbilly elegy. He's an impressive guy on paper.
Top
But
Yale graduate.
yes, but when you get down to the nitty gritty, and he was one of the biggest anti-Trumpers when Trump was in office.
Yes.
He was one of the biggest anti-Trumpers in their party, in the Republican Party. So we have to really look at what's really taking place and what's going on. Now that Trump has been anointed the Messiah, because he's been resurrected
Oh my goodness.
from the
Brian.
dead,
Oh goodness.
and he has postured with a hero statue, pumping the fist,
Oh yes.
and declaring those iconic now words that will be in the history books: fight, fight, fight. What is the plan for the Democrats to combat that? Okay, so let's talk about some issues that really concern black people. So let me ask you this. What issues do you think black people are most concerned with?
Economics.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them are people like that live in these areas where there's a lot of crime.
Mm-hmm.
They're concerned about the increased crime because they're concerned. I can't go on my porch. I'm afraid at night. Bullets coming through my window. I have to get on the floor. Gunshots are going through all night. So I get it. You know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great. So here we have top issues that black Americans care about. This is from the Pew Research Center. 52% of black people that live in America are concerned about crime. What does that entail? That entails drugs, shootings, theft,
gangs,
domestic
yes,
violence,
yes,
gang activity.
yes.
That was the number one issue that black people are concerned about
I get it.
in their community, is that violence, crime is now taking over their communities. Number two, economics. What does that consist of? Consists of addressing poverty. I have not heard one candidate in this race say poor people. Jesus said poor people, but I have not heard one candidate address Poor people. What does poor people
The issues.
entail?
Yes.
It entails a lack of jobs.
Yes.
It entails homelessness.
Resources.
It entails affordable housing. I've heard every politician talk around it.
Dance around
They
it.
talk about poverty, but they never talk about poor people. Okay? What category is least talked about on the campaign would be the category of poor people falling into economics. We need an economic stimuli package.
We need a boost.
Something,
We need a
yes,
hand up.
something that
Something has
will
to happen.
actually
Yes.
affect the community
Definitely.
in a large way.
Right.
Okay? Jobs. Those jobs have to be accessible to the people that live in the communities.
A tax break,
That-
Brian.
but
Some
ta-
type
but
of
taxes, that's taxes, yeah.
You know what?
But the rich are always getting tax breaks,
Yes,
right?
they are.
And that's on the Democratic side
And the Republicans.
and the Republican
It
side.
doesn't matter.
That's exactly right. We know that Democrats, they feed the corporate machine and Wall Street bankers. We saw that when our President Obama was in office.
Yes,
He
we
bailed
did.
out Wall Street. Okay, so we understand Democrats are very pro-corporate, just like the Republicans are. Okay, so we have to deal with policies should deal with the American people that are least talked about. And that is always going to be those that are on the bottom of the echelon. The class that you always hear them talking about empowering is the middle class. Who makes up the majority of the middle class?
White Americans.
That's exactly right. White Americans make up the majority of the middle class. So the Democratic Party has to be honest because they lied for 4 years, like I said, and they have to start talking about issues that deal with poor people, that deal with the least of these. Where does that start? That starts in local politics.
Yes, it does.
We've got to kick all the fakers out of all. I say this all the time.
Yes, we do.
Because the state of Alabama, we've got the weakest black politicians in state legislature, probably than any other state. They will not fight a flea. So we have got to start locally. We need to kick those politicians out. They go along to get along. They dance to everybody's music. They bow down to the king. When the king, they kiss the ring. They're doing all of that. And then want to solicit our vote when they do nothing for you that's productive. Our community suffers from a lack of job. We suffer from a lack of housing. We suffer from a lack of medical health care.
It's sad.
In every category, we are the least. As far as a group of people, we are the least of those that get attention by way of policies.
Well, you know what we have to do? We have
So-
to take some, as African American people, we have to take some accountability for that. Because
Absolutely.
we don't come together, we don't stick together. We could form a group and come together and say, listen, this is who we're going to get behind. We are going to get behind, just say for instance, Brian Watts. Brian, we are expecting Brian to deliver these things to help our communities. In 4 years, 2 years, 6 years, however long Brian is in that position, if we put him in. If he doesn't achieve that, move on to the next person.
Let him use that, but let me say this. What has made Trump so successful is that he's not a politician as usual.
He's a businessman.
Okay, that is what has really driven his success this go around.
Yes.
Okay, he's not a politician. He doesn't know the politician's lingo. He doesn't speak in law codes like most politicians. They speak around the issue. Okay, politicians are great liars, and we say that all the time.
Yes, we do.
And the unfortunate thing, a lot of these great liars run churches, over deacon boards. That's why you see our churches in the state
Just
they're in.
disarray.
Okay, in disarray as well.
Yes.
So our politics normally spill over into the arena of religion, and it hurts us. But let's talk about Trump. Like I said, he's not the normal politician. The normal politician, outside of the normal politician, thinks within a certain regimented way. Okay, because they think law. Most of them think policies and bills from an aspect of already preformed law that's already coded, written a certain way. Trump doesn't think like that.
That's going to continue. Those laws and policies are going to continue to keep us in the same.
That's right. And all they do,
that
it's the same law that's reworded. Okay, so they deal with the same issue over and over. That's why in every race you see the issue of abortion. We've been talking about abortion for over 60 years now. But you see the same thing talked about, and it's just flip-flop between one party to the other. One party says no, the other party says yes. But you're not really dealing with the issue of the community. You understand what I'm saying? So Trump thinks outside of the box because he doesn't have a law mind. So he's thinking, how do we deal with this issue that's not relevant as it relates to what I want to do in the country? I let the state deal with it. So that's how he approaches it. Y'all fight over that. I don't have time for that. Okay? This is what I think, but it's in the hands of the state, and they'll make the best decision. Let y'all fight over. That's frivolous.
Yes.
So that's how he thinks. What is the larger issue that I want to deal with? So that's how he thinks. Okay, what do I want to do? We need people in office that can think outside of politics. And stop. See, one thing that black people are so, it frustrates me because I see the level of ignorance when black people believe that government can really change our condition. When our black politicians, the black Caucasians that are up there, lied to black people, they should have come out a year ago and said, Biden, we're pushing you to resign.
Well, Trump has been saying Joe must go.
We don't want you as our candidate.
Right.
We want an open process.
Yes.
We're not just, you're not a shoe-in anymore. Now, the black Caucasians should have come forth, and if he would have rejected them, then they should come to their constituency and their base and said, look, this is what we've asked of the president. Cognitively, he's not capable of doing another 4 years. We want an open process. We need our people to get behind this because we're looking out for the best interests of our people. Black politicians have fallen into the trap of only looking out for the interests of the party and to H with the people. That's how they say. So they don't deal with black issues. So, Janice, we have got to, and when you look at the local level politician, they are ignorant when it comes to, they may be book smart, but I say this all the time, a person that has been institutionalized is not the smartest individual when it comes to practical things. They're smart in whatever they've been institutionalized in. So if they've been institutionalized in civics, they're smart in that arena. But they do not make practical decisions that will benefit everybody as it relates to the civics arena.
Yes.
Same thing with law. We got all these black lawyers. We don't need any more black lawyers. I'm sick of black lawyers. Because all the juris doctorate, what you pushing me to try to go back and get a juris? Did you want me to get a juris doctorate?
Well, we give you an honorary, Brian. You know everything anyway.
No, I don't know everything, but this is what I'm saying. They get so hung up
on titles and degrees.
On that, to where they're not used, and you've got a justice system that is the most crooked justice system in America. And there are very few Michelle Alexanders that will stand up and tell the truth and say, I was wrong. That black people that are being incarcerated are being incarcerated at an alarming rate. over offenses that Europeans do, that others do, and they're not getting half the time that black people are getting. And not only that, black people are set up by the police more than any other people, group black men in the nation. She just, like I said, she's the exception to the rule when it comes to law. But if you have a degree and you just fall in line with the system and do not fight the system that is unjust for your people, the degree is meaningless to your people. We put judges in place that are scared. We put judges in place that are giving blacks $1 million bonds for theft of property. Or giving blacks $1 million bonds for minor infractions, and yet they have a European to come in with the same infraction and they get a $5,000 bond. Something's wrong with black people when it comes to them being so-called degreed to deal with areas of our community that's their specialty, and they fail to make a difference. Why? Because number one, they don't study the history. They just go and get institutionalized in that particular specialty. If it's law, they don't study the history of law. They don't study, and I'm saying this, I'm not an attorney, but they don't study the history as it relates to what has the law done as it relates to our people for 250 years since this country's been in existence. How has it affected our people? Look at the Dred Scott case. Look at some of these famous cases. And then going back, dissecting them, and being able to show this is still happening today. You understand what I'm saying? So now let me get off my soapbox. But anyway, number 3, education. When it comes to the Pew Research Center and issues that concern black people in America. Education. What falls under that category? Public schools. Okay? African history being taught in, notice I didn't say civil rights history. I said
African history.
African history. Okay? Which covers a broad spectrum. Okay? We are more than enslaved people that came to this country. We are more than Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. You understand? We are more than Barack Obama, who's not an African American, because his father's from Kenya, his mother was from Germany. He is a mixed African. He's not an African American. So let's get that straight. You understand? So when we talk about education in African history, addressing that, we need to be teaching our children African history, the actual accomplishments of their people. They need to understand that their people were the creators of writing, arithmetic. We've heard it all before, science. And then we look at our children and we ask ourselves, why are we failing in these subjects? Why are we failing? Why does our children from a literacy rate when it comes to reading are the lowest out of all other groups in America? Why are our children fall in the lowest ratio of math scores that are children that are tested in America? Why? Why is it that our children are at the bottom when it comes to education? That is a concern, okay, in our community. What other issue? Healthcare, your specialty.
Yes, and that is so.
Okay. What falls into that? Affordable meds.
Yes.
Black doctors.
Affordable health care in
Yes.
general. Black doctors are not coming back to our areas, rural areas.
What are the most, from an ethnic group, what ethnic group makes up the most doctors now?
Asians, Indians, and Indians. Asians and Indians.
Do you happen to know what the ratio is as far as the treatment of Africans that go to an Asian or an Indian physician? Do you know the percentage?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. I just asked. I don't know it either. But I thought maybe you have some knowledge into that. Because we don't feel comfortable.
No, we don't.
The reason that a lot of black men don't go to the physician is because there's nobody to identify with them.
You have a lot of black men that
Yeah.
say, I'm not going to a woman. I'm not going to an Asian. I'm not going to an Indian. I'm not going to somebody from Africa. I want to go to a black doctor. And they will not go. Especially that generation between 50 and older. 50 and older, they won't touch them. They will not do it. I deal with it every day. I see it every day. They love the black doctors. They do. They trust them. There is a trust thing there. Okay?
I got you. Number 5, entrepreneurship. Okay? The opportunity to be able to get loans. The opportunity to be able to access investors and to sit down at the table with investors and have the same opportunity to present their business plan without being rejected or pushed out by a corporate entity called the Chamber of Commerce that puts businesses or allows businesses to be put in cities based on their approval. Chambers of Commerce are jokes. They need to do away with every Chamber of Commerce because all they do is show favoritism. And most Chamber of Commerce do not promote black businesses. Okay? So I'm not a Chamber of Commerce proponent. And you got the black Caucasians that are sitting on Chamber of Commerce boards and they think they're big wigs.
But they're not helping.
But they do not help the little black man. They will refer you to the SBA. Okay? The SBA is so restricted and so, from a standpoint of being handicapped, to what they do as it relates to helping small business, that majority of black people that's looking for help to start their business, SBA will rule them out as well. So that's my field of expertise. So I have helped many people when it comes to SBA loan, the whole SBA lingo, SBA C7s, all of these different types of loans that you can, get that you have to qualify for. What the SBA will do, what the SBA will not do, the restrictions, the handicaps and the restraints.
Yeah.
Okay, so black people are concerned about that. They do not get an equal chance
No, they don't.
at starting a business like everybody else.
So where are these black jobs coming from, bro? That everyone.
Well, the black jobs. See, and that's good topic. Trump. Let me tell you something. The man is. People say what they will about President Trump.
He's a businessman. He's a
He's a
smart.
businessman and he is a great actor.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he knows what to say. He understands how to market. He understands how to present the reality that people buy into that's not real. So the false reality of what people buy into. So now he stands up and says at the RNC, and we watched the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay, probably one of the best, and I'm gonna just be honest, one of the best conventions I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah, political convention.
Okay, so
yes.
I can imagine how it was in person. But the man stands up and say, "I'm for all Americans. I'm for Black Americans. I'm for white Americans. I'm for Hispanic Americans. And we're going to stop immigration just taking our black jobs, taking our Hispanics jobs. Okay. He is a professional when it comes to getting people to buy into the hype. He understands the foundations of marketing, how to appeal to the consensus, to the masses, to the general consensus of people, which are the masses of those that are hurting. So when he talks, and he keeps repeating black jobs, notice he hadn't stopped.
He hadn't changed.
Even though CNN ragged him out, tried to say that was a racist statement. No, it's not a racist statement, because black jobs consist of jobs that were labor-intensive jobs. What were the labor-intensive jobs? Factory jobs. That's a labor-intensive job. Agricultural jobs. Labor-intensive job. You understand what I'm saying? So some of the jobs, and they pay well. I'm not talking about no $8.25 an hour job. I'm talking about these jobs are paying $25, $30 an hour. These are not small jobs. So when he talks about black jobs, if you look at...
Well, he said he's been bringing the motor companies back, the plants.
Yes, he wants to bring that back. But when you look at, if you go to the U.S. Census Bureau and you look at factory jobs, which I did this, we was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, blacks made up 38% of manufacturing jobs that are now being taken over by immigrants. Household jobs. Remember we talked about the what we would call maids, housekeeping, maintenance work.
Yeah.
Blacks made up the majority of workers in that. Now those areas are predominantly Hispanic Mexican workers are the predominant employees to those jobs.
Yes, they are.
And listen, the facts are this, that they're making money, they're saving their money, and they're buying out our communities. Those are the facts. Perfect example. If local, Alabama, Montgomery, Troy Highway at one time used to be majority. You had Jim Walters. You had the Firestone there that was owned by John Woodham. All this is off the top of my head memory. You had Regency Park out there. Okay, you had the trailer park out there. All of that black. John Woodham was white that owned the Firestone. Jim Walter Homes, we know they were white. But there was no Valero's car dealership out there at the time. There was white car dealership out there. And then down 2 lots down, there was a black car dealership. So you had a good mixture, but blacks were in the mix. And this is before Regency Park went ultra ghetto. Okay, it was a nice black community at one time. Most of your apartment complexes were, black, actually occupied those dwellings. Now, Troy Highway is Little Mexico. Okay, Mexican stores, Mexican car dealership, Mexican gas station, all owned by Mexican. Trailer park, bought out by Mexican. Now, I don't have anything against my Mexican brothers and sisters. They come here, they put their monies together,
they work
save,
hard, yes, and
okay,
they don't complain.
They build their community for each other.
And they don't infringe on anybody else.
So we can't talk about them when it comes to how they go about achieving this so-called American dream.
Exactly.
You understand? But the fact remains that those places were once occupied by us. That's now going away. You understand? And we don't have anywhere to go because affordable housing is still not affordable for black people. Regardless, they're not affordable housing now are stick homes that are being thrown up for black people to occupy. And guess what? Black people are being charged 100% of the bill.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? 100% of what the market value is concerning the cost of the bill. And those homes will only last 5 to 10 years at best. You understand? Poorly built homes that are just thrown together and they're giving loans away for homes like that. So we are in a predicament. This election is paramount, right?
Yes.
So what do? Where do we go? All right? The predetermined nominee is now, everybody is endorsing Kamala Harris. Biden has come out and endorsed her. Some of the governors, the Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania has come out and endorsed her.
A lot of the senators.
A lot of the senators have endorsed her, but there is one person that has not endorsed her. Do you know who that is?
Barack Obama.
Obama has not endorsed my sorority sister. Let me quote what the good President Barack Obama, former president, but once the president, always the president.
Yeah.
Okay? So he said, we will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Now, what does that say when you have a so-called black woman, because she's not an African American, just like he wasn't.
Make that clear, bro. Say it so the people in the back can hear it. She is a what?
She's not an African American. She is a Indian, Jamaican American. She's mixed Indian and Jamaican.
She's a beautiful lady. Yes,
but she is a beautiful colored sister.
Yes, she is.
Beautiful brown sister.
Yes, and we love her.
That I am excited about, and it's going to be a challenge for her.
Yes, it is.
Because she really hasn't been vetted to the extent
that she should have been.
That's exactly right. Okay.
Because you got Pelosi, you got Schumer, and you got Obama that's still running the United States. I'm just putting that out there.
And I don't know if Pelosi has endorsed her.
I think she has.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, in the days coming, we are going to see they're going to throw everything at Kamala. Okay. She's going to be tested like none other. Her words are going to be scrutinized heavier than anybody else's words in the news media.
And let me throw this out there.
They're
going to blame every failed policy, even though she may have not created that policy. They're going to blame every failed policy on her. You know?
Well, let me tell you what they are going to get her on. She was the border czar.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That one thing is where they're going to put their teeth in, and they are going to try to dismantle everything else she has done and discredit her based off of her border record. She's done nothing.
I believe they gave her that assignment and they set her up basically for failure. I don't think she was allowed to get the proper help to
She had everything at her disposal.
You think so?
I know so.
So you're saying she failed in that policy?
I do not think she was equipped from a standpoint of knowledge to understand everything that entailed patrolling the border and securing the border. And she did not consult with her personnel that was in place who were experts on that. I think that's where she may have slipped up, okay? But I'm just saying, they're going to throw that into the mix to try to discredit her on everything else that the administration, the Biden administration, has done.
Yeah, that failed.
That hasn't been good for a lot of people.
Right.
Okay, so they're gonna harp on inflation.
Yes.
They're gonna harp on the interest rates.
Yes.
They're gonna harp on groceries being higher than they've been in a long time. They're gonna harp on gas not coming down.
Yes.
They're gonna harp on the Ukraine.
The war, senseless war that we've been fighting.
That we've
over
been
$1
putting
trillion.
billions of dollars
Yes.
into,
Yes.
but yet you cannot help failing communities and homeless people that are sleeping in tents and under bridges.
And now you want to arrest them because if they're found sleeping on the street or under bridges when they have nowhere to go. But you want to
Well, see, that's the senseless wisdom and ignorance of the Democratic Party. That's when I say the Democratic politicians support more of the Democratic plan instead of supporting people. Okay? You have got to start putting your interest in people, not in a party. I said this before Trump finished with his first presidency. I said, MAGA is not the Republican Party. MAGA is a party within the Republican ranks. It is a brand new party.
Yes, it is. And
that
if people can't
exists
see that is
within the Republican ranks.
Yes.
And you have had Republicans
to come on
to
board.
switch into the MAGA party.
That's exactly right.
So we have got to, and that's my thing with Democrats. How dumb. They are so staunched on if the Democratic Party says you got to support this, you got to think this way. That's the way they think, and it's wrong. If the Democrat Party comes out and say jump off of a bridge, everybody think jumping off a bridge is fine. No, that's not right.
No.
So the MAGA Party is an extension of the Tea Party.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? So the Tea Party, taxed enough already, is what T stood for. That party was the first party to begin to rebel in our recent history now, that began to rebel against the Republican and the Democratic agenda. Okay? Trump picked that up. Make America Great Again is an extension of that. He just took it to the next level. Okay? So listen, people talk about Project 2025. Project 2025 is no different from the policy that the Republicans had in place called the Reshaping of America. Google it.
Come on, Brian.
It is the same document, just repurposed.
That's it. So everybody think it's something new,
it's not
something
anything
different.
new. The Republicans have always done that.
Yes.
They have always had an agenda.
What are people thinking? What are they thinking?
Because we don't, here again, you know my pet peeve, black folks don't read. Okay, so we prone to believe anything. We have got to stop it. Democrats have got to start thinking out the box. Think beyond Roe versus Wade. Think beyond LGBTQ. Think beyond
Black Lives Matter.
We got to start thinking beyond those things. We got to get back to a place where we're addressing real issues in our community and stop addressing party issues related to how I can get the most votes and what issue is going to bring me the most money.
And pat in my pocket.
And that is something that,
it's terrible.
MAGA donors are the largest donors. They give more from the smallest, from $1 donations, to the big mega donors, to the super donors, to super PACs that support MAGA.
Exactly.
They give more than any other donor base right now in America. That's how Trump could be convicted of 34 charges, felony charges, and then the next day raise $53 million from his base. And the majority of those were from people that were not wealthy, that were not middle class. These are from rural donors that are just barely making it.
If you got hundreds and thousands of people that's giving $3 and $5, you look at that.
Absolutely, you do.
You look at that. That's not little money.
Absolutely.
They're putting it in one pot.
Yes. So we're just pointing out some facts. Okay. You can go back and you can fact check everything we're saying. We're just pointing out that if the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, like I said, you can kind of sense there's an excitement. Okay.
They want to get excited. They're
yes,
trying
yes,
to get
yes.
excited because they cannot lose those donors.
I believe,
those donors are calling constantly. They are concerned.
Yes, but
they want answers.
But I believe this can energize the party.
It's going to have to.
Okay, so now we're going to see in the next coming weeks, we're just weeks away from the Democratic
It's
convention.
August the 19th, right?
Okay, I think it is. Hopefully, the Olympics won't be a distraction. I hate that they're doing it at the same time the Olympics.
No, they're not.
Okay.
It's not at the same time as the
Yes, it
Olympics.
is.
The
Because
Olympics is July the 26th now.
That's when it starts.
It starts.
Track and field doesn't start until August. It is during the same time as the Olympics.
Well, when would the Olympics end? Because August the 19th is the beginning of the
I don't know
Democratic Party
I don't know
convention.
when their convention is, but I
know.
just hope that it is not during the apex of the Olympics.
Well,
the apex of the Olympics are your track and field events. So hopefully it's after that. But anyway, let me get back to my point. I think with the Democratic Party, this can energize the base. Okay. Now it's going to take grassroots organizing, the Soros, the AKA.
the D9, bro.
They got to put on, the D9, everybody. They got to put the Converse and Pearls on, grassroots organizing. You got to hit the paper. But Kamala has got to sell herself to the American people. She's got to sell herself to black men. That's number two. And she's got to make herself a viable nominee and show that she is capable of holding down the highest office in the land and that she can be an effective leader for this country.
I think the biggest challenge for her is the fact that
she's a colored woman. That's the biggest challenge.
Well, but being the vice president, those that are even Democrats are going to look at the failed policies. I'm sorry, Brian. That is what everybody's harping on. And they're saying it's like trying to rearrange chairs on a sinking Titanic ship.
Well, all of the policies did not fail.
No, not all of them. There were some good policies.
Absolutely.
But they're not going to focus on those because they're going to try to make her look bad.
I understand that. But this is her opportunity. Okay? This is her opportunity to shine, in my opinion. It's her opportunity to energize the base and to shine. So we have to be in prayer for Kamala.
Yes.
And the Democratic Party, we got to take our heads out the sand now. Okay, we gotta be realists and say, okay, I'll hold up. I see what's going on. Black men, we've got to come out and support the base, organize, help in our efforts. Okay, to make sure that people understand what is at stake in this election.
Well, you know, Brian, I hate to say this, I'm going to have to play the devil's advocate.
Oh yeah, you can.
What have you done to help us in 4 years? What have you done? Why am I going to trust to put you in there another 4 years and you haven't done anything to help us in these
That's why we
categories?
have to, that's why the representatives, we've got to push on a local level, okay, to start dealing with some of these issues that I was talking about, okay? The 5 issues, according to the Pew Research Center, that black people are concerned about. Those 5 issues apply to local communities. When you look at Montgomery, when you look at the black community in Prattville, black community in Selma, we are all concerned about those same issues. How do we galvanize the base to where we began to organize around the issues and say to our representatives, these are the issues that we are concerned about. And this is what you have to bring to the forefront as it relates to the nominee, and make it known that you need to address these issues. Not only are they issues that affect the black community, but they affect all communities. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
They're not just isolated to the black community. They're just the most concerned issues of the black community. But they're not isolated to just us. So let me make that clear. Hispanics, whites, have some of the same concerns. You understand?
Yes.
Whites are concerned about crime just like black people. Whites are concerned about their children being properly educated and receiving a good education just like black people.
They're concerned about inflation.
They're concerned about
Yes.
economics
Yes.
just like black. So we have to make sure that our local representation, that those delegates understand this is what you need to be saying. If it is an open convention, the delegates then, if it's an open convention, can vote for a nominee that's not Kamala. So how do we organize, galvanize, make sure our delegates know we want to support Kamala? We think she deserves a chance. We don't think she should be overlooked.
Why wouldn't
Okay.
Obama say that? What is, I know
Well,
he's
we're not worried
thinker.
about Obama. He's a critical thinker. He's analytical and all of that good stuff. But we're not worried about him. Obama is one of the, he's one of the major players
Yes, he is.
of the party.
Yes, he
Okay,
is.
he is the voice. We know that. We know that this decision of Biden dropping out today,
Was
majority
Came
was,
from him.
that's exactly right, from Obama. And we know that. But we cannot let him run the party from the background. If it is the people's party, we have to stand up and say, look, this is what we're concerned about, and these are the issues that are going to get you a victory. If it don't get you a victory, at least it'll hold on to the Senate. You understand what
Yes,
I'm saying?
yes.
So we have to understand that. If we're going to play the game, you play the game to win. Even if Trump wins the presidency, can we maintain the Senate? Because policies run through the House and the Senate. So we have to, as black people, we have to make sure that our delegates that represent us, that are going up there, okay, that they understand these are the things that you all need to be talking about. And if you're going to go with a nominee outside of the vice president, then we need to make sure whatever nominee you vote for, that they're going to address the concerns of the black community who's been left out and who's now being lauded by President Trump. And President Trump is openly saying, I'm going to address the black community. I'm going to deal with some of the problems in the black community. Now, he's not giving anything substantive as to what he's going to do or how he's going to address it, but he's saying, I'm going to be the president for black people and we're going to address some of those issues. And then he has a pastor from Detroit
yes.
that stands up on his behalf and says that no other president would come to the ghetto, but Trump came to the ghetto to listen to our concern
He made us
about
feel like
our
he
community.
cared.
And that's exactly right. So we got to be conscious of that. Enough of Kamala. Don't sit down, baby, with no more rappers. Nobody's impressed with you sitting down with idiots. Please.
No rappers.
That is not impressive.
No, it's not.
Don't sit down with dumb athletes that know how to dribble a basketball and run a football. That is not impressive. Don't sit down with any pulpit pimps. I would rather you bring some gangbangers in there that will tell you what the issues are and who's bringing the drugs in, why they are selling the drugs. A common sense approach. Stop selling black people out. You don't need to meet with Kendrick Lamar. You don't need to meet with Big whatever his name.
Joe.
Big Joe, Fat Joe, whatever he calls himself. You don't need to meet with those type of folk. That's not impressive. And it's just sad.
Deal with real people.
Deal with
everyday people.
So there you have it. We get on a rant.
That's it.
But what Joe Brown said, we're not ranting, we're pontificating. So,
Brian, people want to know who's going to be running the country in the next 5 months. That is going to be very, very important. If Biden has dropped out of the race, he can't do it. We don't know if he wrote that statement or someone wrote it for him.
I think he did. Somebody wrote it for him.
Well, they helped him write it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the strength to even do a telephone call to let the people, and I know how COVID attacks the body.
Mm-hmm.
I know it attacks the lung, it attacks the brain, it attacks every muscle, every organ in your body.
Old, baby.
I get it.
So,
you know, hey, we all are getting older, but I'm not president. So
yeah, but still. But
what we need to understand is that we got 5 months.
Yeah, in 5 months. I'm a realist. You know that. I don't deal with false realities. Okay. If we don't get, and it's going to be very hard to stop the MAGA train. Now, that's the reality. That's the true reality of it. It's going to be very difficult to derail the MAGA train.
Because it's running, baby.
We need to have more than a plan A. We cannot put our hopes only in winning the presidency. We need to deal with the Senate and the House. Holding on to seats, adding seats.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So you don't just go in there with a view of we need to win the presidency. No, that's not necessarily true. Even if Trump gets in there. Like I said, it's going to be hard to derail the MAGA train. But how do we hold on to the seats we have and add seats to the House and the Senate? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
You still can affect policy. That is the greatest effect that you have on policy. When you control the legislative body. You understand what I'm saying? So, that is what we have to do. So the reality is, do we have a chance? There's always a chance. Miracles happen every day.
Every day.
So I don't rule that out. You understand what I'm saying? And what black folks, because we are so religious, we're going to say this. God can do anything. And guess what? I agree with that.
I do too. But what are you going to do?
God can do anything, but we got to organize, like I said, grassroots. We got to get out and vote. Those are just foundational things that we have got to do if we are going to be in this race. You understand?
Yes.
And I believe that, like I said, I'm energized. I can feel the energy.
Yes.
I felt the energy Friday before when I was telling you about Kamala's speech. I thought it was brilliant. That she spoke, that's the best I've ever heard her articulate her plan, even though she was saying Biden, that's what they wanted to do. It was still, I saw it coming from her. That's Friday, I saw her running for president. And I told you about that.
Yes, you did. Yes,
okay?
You did.
So I think we can get behind her. She doesn't need to be overlooked.
Okay.
Now, I'm a firm believer of that.
Yes.
I think my sister needs a chance.
Yes, she does.
Okay?
Yes, she does.
She's a smart individual. She's not there just off of her looks. She is very intelligent. She's got 4 years of experience under her belt now.
And she's
got the same
up.
experience that Trump does. You understand what I'm saying? So it's no different. Okay. She's talked to international leadership. She's had to negotiate with international leadership. She's smart enough to hire people that are experts that will aid her in whatever she needs as it relates to her administration. I believe that she could do that.
I do too.
Okay, so we have to organize the base.
Yes.
But Kamala, I believe this. She sits down with Fat Joe and all of these other people. I believe she'll sit down with common people. You know what? She's got to do something that Trump does so well. See, I'm not one of these people that just say, everything's bad about Trump. No, there's some good things. See, you can learn from everybody. Let me tell you what he does so well. He's a people's person. He goes to a McDonald's. He goes to rural town hall meetings. He holds rallies in fields. Understand what I'm saying?
I got it.
He goes to gas stations, buy everybody in the gas station coffee, and sit down and talk.
Yes.
Kamala, she could take a note out of his playbook.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
You cannot always entertain
got
the
to
so-called status quo.
That's right. You got to get down to the people that really are voting for you.
That's what my heart
You
is.
understand what I'm saying? It's with our people.
Yes.
That, and if she do that,
she can do something.
She can make a difference.
She can.
Okay? Even if she doesn't get elected.
She's made a difference.
You understand what I'm saying? She sets herself up
for the next
for 2028.
Yes, she does.
Okay? And that is my thinking. But she has got to become a person that can reach common
everyday people. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Stop dealing with these stars that don't do nothing. We don't want to
hear that.
They don't say nothing. They're the ones that are promoting crimes in our community through their songs. The athletes don't give back to our community no more than doing football and basketball camps.
Get over it.
For me, it's the sickest thing that we think they're adding to our community.
And they're not.
And they're not. They're robbing our community. But we get so hung up into this person title, and he's a star, she's a star. That is foolishness that we've got to learn to let go of. Nobody cares if you have a title. What are you doing
to help the
that's actually significant outside of having food drives every now and then, passing out clothes
and book bags?
You understand what I'm saying? And creating 501c3s. No, we can do more than that. That is a lack of vision. That is only buying into the aristocratic way of handling people that are less fortunate, that you really don't want to do nothing for anyway. That is, and it's a very, very sad
commentary
statement.
Yes, it is.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, it is.
We should be able to say more than I have a 501c3. Okay, everybody proud of it, but nobody cares about that. In the end, what you have to do is what we see other groups of people doing. Indians don't come here and start 501c3s. They come here and they buy gas stations. They buy hotels. Mexicans aren't starting 501c3s. They come here, they save their money, they buy up whole blocks. Why are we so caught up into having to act like Europeans? The 501c3, I've said this many times on other shows. When you go back and you look at the origin of the 501c3, it was created to actually filter and launder money down through the government, call it philanthropy, to the peasant class.
Come on, man.
We're better than that. And when we get so caught up into just doing it the program way, just doing it the system way. You become part of the problem. You become the system to your people instead of breaking out of the system and helping somebody. I said this many times. We need our own party. See, if we had our own party like MAGA and had our own candidate that was charismatic, that was, don't have to be an intellectual. Trump has proven that.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? Good with people. But you got intellectuals behind you that understand the laws as it relates to putting policies in place that you want to push. You got foundations behind you, like the Heritage Foundation.
Come on now, Brian.
You understand
Yes,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
So
Come on.
we've got
Yes.
to wake up.
Wake up.
Because we're playing checkers and they're playing chess.
Yes.
You understand?
You got it.
So we're going to end there.
Oh, one thing. Don't leave out mental health.
Yes, mental
Mental
health is
health is a
definitely a
big
big
issue.
issue. And that would fall into the health care
Yes, I left that out.
category.
Sorry.
That would fall into that category. So, hey,
Oh,
I'm done.
Hey, Brian is done, but if Brian were, and I'm just hypothetically putting this out there, he doesn't.
Don't put it out there.
He doesn't know
I don't
it.
do politician stuff.
Okay, he wouldn't be a politic, he'd be a Trump. What if he run for Senate?
Oh.
I'm just saying, would y'all vote for him? I sure would, but I guess, okay, I have to. I'm his wife, so I
You're
would.
partial. yeah.
I'm just saying, if he ran for Senate, would you vote for him? Because he sure would be a voice for the people, but I know they don't want that.
No, I'm a revolutionary, and they say I'm a little unhinged.
Yeah.
You know, the gangster comes out.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Wilson.
He fights for us.
The gangster comes out of me, you know. You can take a little boy out the ghetto, but it's hard to get the ghetto
Yes,
all the way
sir.
out the little boy.
You're a
But
black
anyway.
Jamie man. He's a black, not
Don't
quite.
put that on me. But,
No, I'm
hey,
just saying your upbringing.
Yeah,
But you
yes,
had your
yes.
mom and your dad, so
yeah,
that's
and I
good.
had good parents.
You had great
Okay.
parents, honey.
So, thank you all.
Thank y'all for watching, and please
For
share this
joining us.
video. Yes,
And we appreciate you all. We love you all.
yes, we do.
Peace to Alabama, the state, Montgomery, Selma, Mobile, Birmingham. We can do this.
Yes,
We can do this.
let's do it.
Let's organize and get it done. God bless.
Have a great night, everybody. We love y'all.